No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
It's time for Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny. From what's happening on the Blue at Boise State to the Mountain West and beyond. The biggest storylines, the best guests, and most outlandish opinions from two dudes who eat, sleep, and breathe college football. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. You can also pick up any of Western Collective's beers or vodka seltzers at most major retailers in Idaho. Ball Talk with Sanford and Johnny, featuring former Boise State quarterback and longtime coach Mike Sanford and KTIK 95.3 FM The Ticket's Johnny Mallory on Bronco Nation News.
Episode 12 holiday Thanksgiving edition of Ball Talk. John Mallory, Coach Mike Sanford, ready to get you ready for really, Coach, one of the fantastic weekends of the football season, NFL, college. Nobody's working, or a lot of people aren't working. I used to work a lot on Thanksgiving. Actually, you did as well, man. But a lot of people have this weekend off. They're watching a lot of football. It's a lot of fun. I know you got family into town, and let's rock and roll tonight and get everybody ready for another weekend.
Well, I'm just going to go straight into it with the Western Collective mic drop, Johnny, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
And here's why. First off, man, happy Thanksgiving to my guy, Johnny Ballgame. Man, show your beautiful face here so I can kind of glaze you a little bit for a second. Johnny, dude, thanks for being such a good friend. Thanks for coming and visiting me out here in Denver just a few short months ago, it feels like, even it's probably been about 6 months, 7 months. And I want to say thank you for my mic drop just to our listeners, our viewers, our everybody that has been a part of this journey of Ball Talk for the last really year and a half. And it's been a journey of joy, of fun, of humor, a lot of good laughs. I love being able to share just my opinions, and that there are people that would actually take my opinion. You don't know how much that means to me. And so this is a time of year, the very end of the football season, whether you're playing for a CFP berth, certainly a Mountain West Conference championship is a week from today, a little bit more than that. It'd be a week from Saturday or a week from Friday. Week from Friday, or
Come to town. By the way, we want the Sandman in Boise for Championship Friday. Let's make that happen. BNA crew.
You have to talk to the boss. She does like you. She likes you right now a little bit more than she likes me. So, but Johnny, this is the time of year, and this is what I want to talk about the mic drop. When you're coaching football, the Thanksgiving week it's kind of a bunker down type of a mentality. Everybody's together, everybody's under one roof. A lot of your players, friends are out of town. A lot of their families can't afford to make it to the game and be in town. So you end up spending a majority of your time. A lot of meals are shared with you as a coach, with you and your position group and other position groups, and you mingle a lot. One thing I've always wanted to do is when we have our either a day before Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Day position meeting, is I like the tradition of the Sanford family, which we do is to go around the room and say what you're thankful for. And so I started out, Johnny, by thanking you for being an awesome partner, thanking BJ Rains and for Bronco Nation News giving me a start in this new space. And I love it. And it's all been because of the opportunity I've been afforded to have airtime and do it with Boise State fans. And I want to continue that. I want to thank Boise State. I want to thank a place that formed me, made me into the person I am today because of the people that I was able to surround myself with. I was on a little bit of Riley and Rid before this, and just having the chance to see Riddle's face. He's the guy that was in a huge place of influence in my life. I want to thank the Boise State community in Boise, Idaho. I mean, the entire state. It's a great place to live. I always feel like I'm at home when I go back. I've had a unique experience as a coach's kid. I moved around a lot, and then I certainly went into the coaching industry. And Boise, Idaho, as a place that I lived for 6 years, that's the second longest I've lived in one place. So it is home to me, man. So I just want to say thank you to all of you in Boise, Johnny, you being one of them, and all the people that were a part of helping me, good, bad, or indifferent, be the knucklehead that I am today. So mic drop on that. And I want to thank the Boise State Bronco football team this year for being extremely relevant
Wow.
in week 12 of the college football season. Week 12 is in game 12. It's a remarkable thing to be a part of, and it gives an alum a lot of joy to have a chance to watch the games week in, week out. So that's my mic drop. I don't have my microphone. I got kicked out of my studio, Johnny. My parents are in town, so they took over the Johnny Ball Game Memorial guest area. Yeah, I don't have it. So here I am. I got a cardboard box and an iPad and some some AirPods. That's what I'm working with today. So here we are.
Tell your parents that they got their work cut out for them in regards to signing that guest book in the standards that have now been set in the Sanford house. So make sure that's done. And that couch, I DoorDashed Taco Bell at like 2 a.m. on that couch, man. Heck yeah.
Right here in the basement, man. Total man cave, right? I mean, look at this. Look at this.
He's got a
man.
setup, guys. Sanford has a setup down there at his pad in Colorado.
We even got some pop shot, little billiards. You can see back there. We got the famous drawing of the Statue of Liberty called America. And then right now, unfortunately, I got blacked out of my Nuggets game. So Nuggets and Avs are playing right now, and local blackouts will kill you.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I love it though. Yeah, I missed that place. We have to catch that, get back up there and catch up, Coach. It was 5 months, I think, June. Yeah. So 5 months ago. Okay, you're close to this. I like your unique position. Boulder, Boise. Travis Hunter, good game last week. Colorado loses. Ashton Jeanty, good game last week. Boise State wins. What does Ashton Jeanty need to do between right now and when the ballots need to be cast for the Heisman to win the Heisman Trophy? Give me the Jeanty Heisman winning path, starting obviously on Black Friday when they both play at the same time.
Well, part of it is already been decided. It's how healthy is he, right? I mean, how much there is in the tank to go for, say, 25 to 35 touches in a game, right? That's going to be a big component of it. And I don't know, right? Like, I'm not there. I don't know what he's going through. I know that he works harder than anybody else that I've ever been able to witness from afar in terms of the maintenance of his body, getting ready to be able to perform at the highest of optimal levels. And so that'd be the first thing. I just think that the Oregon State game, while certainly not the Oregon State of, let's say Jacquizz Rodgers variety of that vintage, or Mike Riley, it's still an Oregon State team that has had some early success in the year, got a win over a Big 12 team earlier in the year. I believe it was Texas Tech. Is that right? Or that was Washington State. But beat a Big 10 team soundly in Purdue. And then just most recently had a top 25 win. And so Oregon State, in terms of the prestige of the logo, it does mean something, Johnny. And so doing something big in this game, final game on the blue of the regular season, I think that is going to go a long way. Um, I think the other piece is you're going to be playing in a conference championship, and your number one competitor most likely will not be playing in a conference championship. Now, I think there's going to be a lot more chaos in the Big 12. I think there's going to be chaos in the SEC. I hope there's not much chaos as it relates to my Boise State Broncos. But the one thing that I've seen in this portal and NIL world of college football, man, the only consistency week to week is inconsistency. Yeah, and I think it's just because the rosters are turning over so much. Teams aren't really full teams that have been together all that often. And so Ashton Jeanty just needs to continue what he's doing for 2 more weeks. If his body's up for it, send it, brother. And if the body's not up for it, then he's got to take care of himself first and foremost. He's got to take care of second most important is his availability. For what would remain as potentially more games after the college football or the Mountain West Conference Championship that would await him in the CFP playoffs. So yeah, I mean, I still think he's right there. I do. I think that this past week, with CU losing, frankly, I don't think that's what the Heisman is. It's not a did you win or did you lose race, but it does factor into it that Boise State could finish out the regular season plus the conference championship at 12-1, and he's been the face of that record.
Explain this. I feel like I have to deal with this every single day. I think we dealt with this on an episode or two back behind Ball Talk, and you explained that it's not up the middle every single time. Those are actually outside runs. They're stretch plays. They're in the C gap. Are you still there, or are you screaming like a certain portion of the fan base thinking that Dirk Cutter just kind of doesn't know how to get this guy the ball enough on the outside?
Yeah, you got to think about it. Stretch run plays. If a team is going to set the edge of the defense outside of the furthest reach block that you have, they're going to get funneled back inside. So there
And
just
that's what
aren't many.
happens on every play, correct? Basically.
I mean, in teams that don't do that, they get, they give up 250 to 300 yards rushing against Ashton Jeanty. So you can call true toss crack plays, which I know Dirk knows really well, and he has called it throughout the course of the year. But even then, if you're in a bunch set and you down block with the point man on bunch on that defensive end, you pull the tackle. Say sometimes you end up pulling, either the play side guard or center, depending on how the front lines up. You can box it, which means an outside linebacker, a safety, a nickel, a corner. If they take on that first puller, the tackle, and they play with their outside shoulder into basically the lead shoulder of that puller, that ball's not getting outside. Like, it's just a reality of the play. So there's just not there aren't a ton of plays that you can just guarantee this ball is going to circle the defense. The sweep play is one of them. A reverse is one of them, but that's hard to do with your tailback, right? You don't run a lot of reverses to your running, but you're at home tailback. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and I think that defenses have done an admirable job of making sure that they're caging the play in. Think about it like a cage, right? Like what do you have to have on a cage to keep a wild animal inside of its locked up habitat? It's got to have edges, right? It's got to have boundaries, and that's what defenses are doing. They're creating a cage. And so it is what it is, man.
It's been explained to me several times, and it's getting frustrating. Like, I totally get it. And I talked to James Montgomery, the running back coach, about it, and he said this is why we can't throw him a screen pass. It's not there. They are there every time. They mind their P's and their Q's, and it's not there. We'd love to call screens like Bush did last year or whatever when it was there. And that, I mean, I don't know. You can take their word for it or you can't. But that it feels like that's where it is to me. And on the Heisman, Coach, the fact that Jeanty might get to play an extra game, and I think will play an extra game, I think might eventually give him the push, especially, and the word is in the building this week, that he's feeling really good, like health-wise, like things are feeling better arms, elbows. Like he's working hard at it, and that might be one of those games. So I'm hoping that for the Heisman case.
That's great news. That is great news, and I hope that's the case. But my
Yeah,
gosh,
But
I just
what?
have
What are
a,
you
I
gonna
have a hard.
say?
I mean, there's what's different, about. I mean, it's a shorter week. It's a Friday game, right?
Yep.
And he touched the ball how many times against Wyoming?
And not 19, 21. What was the total carries? It wasn't well over 30 because Wyoming did a pretty dang good job of shortening that game. But I
Yeah.
totally get where you're going with that. You're saying that's not how can he be feeling better now? It's a short week. So you're not
Yeah.
really
Well,
buying that.
I thought Jeanty looked fresh at the beginning of the game. I mean, I saw like the first couple drives. He looked really fresh, but dude, when you have the accumulation of hits on a body and you have the accumulation of, like I always say, there's a difference between pain and injury, right? And so let's just call whatever ails him pain. I mean, I think the elbow is clearly an injury and he's playing through it and he's been braced. It's safe. It's not like he's going to shorten his football life or it's going to jeopardize his health for the remainder of his
No.
65 years ahead of him. But man, when you got pain and you can feel pretty good on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But about 6 hits into the game, man, a lot of those little knocks, they just quickly come back to life. And that's the thing about playing that position, man. Those guys have so much respect for me, especially this guy. I mean, this dude is a absolute war daddy and just
Right.
plays through
To
it.
the core, man.
I mean, I can't quantify. You cannot put a number. You cannot quantify. It's almost like I'd say the equivalent of Travis Hunter and the snaps being a part of the argument for him. And then Boise State fans, they say it's not a snap award, it's a best player in college football award. Well, I would say that the snap piece of the Travis Hunter uh, Heisman candidacy is, I'd say, matched by the ultimate badass toughness of Ashton Jeanty week in, week out, and frankly, doing what he's doing one armed because he is, man. He's doing what he's
Who's
doing one
bigger
armed.
who's more active in the training room? Who's more sore after a football game? Travis Hunter and all the snaps, or Ashton Jeanty and all the carries and the pounding? In your coaching opinion?
My coaching opinion is the answer is yes to both.
Okay.
I mean,
All
dude, you got to think about how sore a corner is that plays 68 snaps in a game and how sore a receiver is playing 48 to 57 snaps a game. They're sore, man. Every player, like when you see them on Sunday and they're coming in the building and you dap it up with your star wideout or you tap it up with your star corner, how you feeling, man? Ooh, man, body sore, brother. Multiply that by 2 in the Travis Hunter case, and then with Ashton Jeanty, figure the fact that I'm not going to say he is the offense, but I'm going to say he is the offense. I mean, he is the center. I mean, he's the center place.
War daddy, man. This program, everybody has ridden that dude. The season on the line, losing in the fourth quarter. He has 3 pop runs. So even him, almost at the point of exhaustion, when he's tapping out, he's exhausted. Breezy comes in, gets the teeter. They get out of Laramie like so many other great Boise State teams that didn't go up there and kick their ass. It's happened several times before, but they get the win, and it just feels like every single time he's just made it happen. And yes, the way they have used him and how responsible he is for 10-1 right now, Coach, and the fact that Boise State is mattering again nationally. They're in the mix. They exist on a national level. They're being discussed on every single episode of every single everything in regards to college football. I mean, it all kind of traces back to Ashton Jeanty, and I think he's going to rip Oregon State up. I say that every week on Ball Talk, and it's more of like a lunch bucket, lunch pail, 30 carries, 180, 6 to 8 yards per carry, couple teeters. It's one of those games rather than early in the season where it was a Bo Jackson in Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yeah, and you got to think that a 30 carry, 186-yard performance, 8 yards or more per carry, by every metric, that is ripping up a defense. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's what it is, man.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that we call that a lunch pail performance, right? For Ashton Jeanty.
For
And
him, it's a lunch pail. For anybody else, it's
it's a career day. It's a career day, Johnny.
Senior day management. Okay. Mom's there, emotions, friends, relatives you haven't seen for however long. All of a sudden, oh, I know you. Hey, buddy, you're back. And emotions, flowers, crying. The last real home game on the blue. Coaches are crazy, not crazy, maniacal, right? No, they want to control everything. They want to know what's going on. I would imagine that the do's and the don'ts. It's senior day Friday morning. I don't know if the time affects the early kickoff, affects the senior festivities, senior day management. What do you need to see, Coach?
Yeah, my senior day in 2004 was a morning game. It was either a 10 or 11 a.m. kickoff. And so I vividly remember my mother. She was there with my sister, and they were at my senior day festivities, and then they left and got on Interstate 84 East to I-15 South to go watch my dad, who ended up clinching at the time the Mountain West Conference Championship and also clinching the BCS berth that we were actually competing for. So she went to senior day in the morning and was there for me to run out with my name and, gave her a hug. And I was crying. My mom was crying. My sister was crying. My wife was crying. It was just, at the time we were dating, Amory and I. Yeah, it's an emotional deal, but I've always seen a positive side of the emotion come about. It's never been like overwhelming. It's always been something that I always thought that component with the senior class, or I don't know how they do it anymore with all these, are guys going to go into the portal, or are guys going to enter the NFL? Like, do they get to go out for senior day? Every place is different, so I'm not going to I have no idea how it's going to be at Boise State, but I just think it's one of those that you run out of that tunnel and you see your family. I've always felt as a coach, it gave you just a little extra juice, man. There's a little bit, there's like it brings about this camaraderie, this love that you have for each other. And it's like a wedding, man. Think about how, anybody that's listening right now or watching this, you're at your wedding, you see all your people and you see them in a very significant event. Therefore, there's a state of euphoria. Obviously, insofar as you married the right female or male. But that's what I think senior day run out at home feels like. The one I hate senior days when I'm the visiting team. Gosh, I always hope that I'm not the guy that's drawing that straw. That's a brutal deal because that team, even no matter how good or how bad they are, you just get an extra jolt of togetherness, an extra jolt of like emotion, and it usually plays out positively for the home team.
Check this out, and this is pretty sweet, Coach. Logan, I'm in Green Bay right now, Coach, about 5 minutes from Lambeau Field, and you're wearing a Jordan Love jersey, and it's crazy because I would imagine 5 years ago today, right now, you're in the quarterback room at Logan, Utah, Maverick Stadium with Jordan Love, Andrew Peasley, whoever else you had in that room.
Henry Colombi. Starting quarterback at Marshall to beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame Stadium.
You got a packed room.
Cooper Legas.
Texas Tech? No, where'd he go?
He's at Tulsa.
Okay, Tulsa.
But remember, he's the one who started the LA Bowl for Utah State. It was his first ever game action. It was like 3 years ago. He goes out there. It was after I was gone. It was Blake Anderson's first year. And he ends up getting MVP of the game and throws like 5 teeters in the game. I'm like, we had a pretty awesome quarterback room.
Yeah, I mean, but so like 5 years ago, and I know the relationship like between a position coach and his players. It's like a parent, it's guidance, like they're under your everything pretty much constantly. Those are your guys. That's your room. And then I've heard coaches say when they leave, like when they go to the NFL, it feels like your oldest child is grown up and going off to college. And you're like, gosh, I hope I equip them. I hope they know how to read that coverage. No, what are they going to call that in the NFL? We called it this. Is it going to confuse him on language? And you're thinking about all this stuff. Like, did I let him go? Did I let him go at the right time? Did I teach him all he needs? Here you are 5 years later. You're wearing his jersey. He is a star quarterback, been paid, extended in one of the cathedrals of football on this planet, and you're wearing his jersey right now, Jordan Love. I mean, that's got to be one of those kind of pinch yourself moments being a dude you coached right now. Talking about Thanksgiving, figured we'd kind of go in that direction for a sec, Coach. That's a really cool deal you got there, man.
Yeah, and the thing that was so unique about that quarterback room, and I've told you this before on Ball Talk, but we don't always have this exact same viewers, but that position room was so close to myself and my family because after I was a head football coach and you're in charge of 120 guys at Western Kentucky, it's hard to get those real intimate, deep relationships because frankly, there's just not enough of you to go around with 120 human beings. And so you end up getting close as a head coach to the guys that are in trouble a bunch. I mean, that's the reality. Like my favorite guys are the guys that are arrested on a Saturday night after a ball game, but because it's the only guys that you get to know. But after I got done and I was fired at Western Kentucky, the one thing that dawned on me, the very first position meeting that I had at Utah State was like, and I told them, I was like, guys, I missed the hell out of this right here. I missed the hell out of just being with a group of 5, 6, 7 guys and getting to know your ins, your outs, being there when it's good, when it's bad, when it's ugly. It's family. It truly is a family. And so as a result of that 1 year at Utah State ended up being the year that I think myself and my wife and kids invested in a room of players so deeply. And go back to Thanksgiving, they would come over. I would say that quarterback room came over to our house in Logan, Utah. I don't know, probably 20 times in 1 year. And usually have your obligatory 1 or 2 visits. And that it's, you just do it because the head coach told you. We would just have them over all the time. And so for Thanksgiving, the real MVP in my household on Thanksgiving is my wife. Johnny, she's an incredible hostess.
She's the best.
She just rolls out the red carpet. Dude, she cooked for like 7 quarterbacks for our family. She had her family was there. And then she also invited all the quarterbacks' families that were in town for the football game. So we ended up having like 25, 35 humans that my wife just lit it up like an Italian grandma and just got it done, dude. So this is kind of a cool picture, man. You might have seen it, but just you can see that relationship. That's at Lambeau. Just to kind of have that interaction. My boys and their cheese heads on the sideline before a game last year.
Is that Griffin or Gunn wearing the cheese? So let me guess, Griff? No.
Here they are right there. That's Griffin and Gunner right there.
Well, they both got cheese heads on. Yeah, man.
And then look at that's so that's Gunner. Gunner's Griffin's getting the handshake from Jay Love right there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's sweet, man. That's really cool. Absolutely what you're thankful for. Boise State on Ball Talk, they're minus 19. Big spread. They have not been smoking teams at all, Coach. They've been squeaking games out. They've been avoiding catastrophes in some of these games. 19-point favorite, over under a total of 57.5. How do you see this game going on Friday?
I think the eye test of Boise State the last few weeks, and I tweeted it out, and I believe it, is that I said it on Ball Talk was about a month ago, Johnny, that don't get too caught up as a fan, or as a football alum, or as a media member in the market there in Boise, by the eye, what it looks like, what it smells like, what it tastes like. You just got to survive in advance, and that's what Boise State's been doing. Now, I do think it's not necessarily about like the national narrative surrounding, oh, you squeaked by 2-9 Wyoming by 4 points. Or, hey, you beat Nevada, who ended up, losing the majority of the end of their season games.
10 games.
Yeah. To me, it is truly survive advance. My deal is less about the narrative surrounding Boise State and more about the concern level I have in these final 2 games, because I do believe, man, it catches up to you when it catches up to you. And so Oregon State is a more talented team than a majority of what you've played over the last 5 weeks. Okay. They're more talented.
Okay.
Now
Better roster than
they've been disjointed at different spots of the season. You're catching them off a confidence building win over Washington State. I'd say my normal optimism level would be lower if this wasn't senior day on the blue for Boise State. So I do believe that Boise State's going to put a complete one together, and they're going to beat Oregon State by 3 or more touchdowns. That's what they will cover. I think Boise State plays with that emotion of a senior day. Even just breaking down a senior day to you, Johnny, it kind of was like a good reminder to me. Like, this is going to be a very unified, very tightly connected, emotional team that's going to play their absolute tails off. And they've been playing incredibly hard. It's never been a matter of are they playing hard. But I think it's just going to be a very connected team on their final regular season game on the blue in a historic year. And so I think it's going to come together and it's going to be a dominant effort.
I see like 44, 24, 45, 27, 47, 20, something along those lines. So I love Black Friday weekend, right? Tomorrow,
Yeah.
NFL games, plus you get Memphis, Tulane tomorrow. Sweet college game, and then obviously the whole weekend. But we'll let you get to it. You guys got stuff to do. Your parents are in town, and I know everybody's excited to celebrate Thanksgiving. Everybody who watches Ball Talk, thank you guys for continuing to watch Ball Talk. We are truly thankful for you guys. So we'll be back ready to rock and roll, hopefully throughout a long CFP run for Boise State fans who want to keep watching this show, Coach.
Yeah, and I heard you give out your Thanksgiving wishes and what you're thankful for. Didn't hear anything about you being thankful for me. I mean, for your guy, you know.
Very thankful. I love our partnership. Love doing Ball Talk with you, BJ. Like when he approached me with this project, he had me at Sandman. Anyway, all right.
I'm kidding, man.
Happy Thanksgiving, you
Hey,
guys.
love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Thanks for watching Ball Talk, guys. Happy